Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Wednesday to you. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. With the big picture, of course, we want to look at this most recent increase and that retest at 30,000, and also talk a little bit about some back-end data too that I think is pretty important to recognize. So if you are new to this channel, thanks again for joining. Hope you learned something here today, of course. If you do want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a site link down below. We do have a summer sale going on right now, and you can lock in your rate indefinitely. So really cool stuff. Be sure to check that out, link down below. That said, what we want to talk about here is a couple of important things. So first of all, as we discussed yesterday, if you watched my video, you'd recognize or know that it was important for us to close above this key level resistance there at about 29,500, 600 range. Okay, that put us above the cloud. That put us in a lot of different positions where the price action was above a key level resistance. And if we can kind of see here, of course, you can see the 20-day set moving average working its way through there. So we essentially broke this descending trend. Again, it's only a short-term descending trend. Ever since July 15th, we've been trending downwards with lower highs and lower lows. This is our first higher high that we can recognize on the daily. It's important to recognize because it gives us that shift in momentum potentially. Again, doesn't mean we're out of the woods and it's all good. We're just go long from here, but it does tell us there's a greater chance of the price going up than down. We do have the 50-day SMA working tentatively as a resistance, but that is a very common occurrence when you shift from a bearish descending trend to a range-bound / bullish trend. Okay, so what we're going to look at here is the likelihood of the price going probably sideways for a moment and then continuing higher once it retests this level multiple times. We've seen multiple retests of that 30,000 level, once, twice, and 3 times here, essentially, again, in the most recent past. So something important to recognize there. 30,000 is still a strong resistance level. That said, looking at the daily here on just quickly note with the RSI, we're back up over 50. We haven't been above 50 in roughly 3 weeks. Okay, so it's awesome to be back there. That is another bullish continuation potential scenario there. And of course, this convergence on the MACD that I was talking about for a little while that we finally actually broke through officially. Okay, so that is good news. These are all positive signs basically saying that it may be disadvantageous to consider a short position at this level. Again, at least for right now. These are some tentatively bullish signs, and we want to look at that and recognize that. Let's switch over to High Block Capital, kind of see what's going on here. This is kind of the back end stuff here, and what I want to recognize and note is that we have some liquidation levels here. Basically, these are where stop losses are being placed, typically right there at about 29,100. So it's just below that 29,200 previous resistance turn support level. So just know if you were to take a long position, a stop loss in that area might be safer because that's where a majority of larger positions are putting their stop loss, and they'll probably flip to a bearish scenario if they lose that. So again, that's a key level support at 29.1, 29.2. That said, we saw some healthy, or I wouldn't say they're healthy, but we had more shorts liquidated than longs yesterday, for example, and that was finally a nice thing to see. Okay, again, that shift in momentum, if you will, we broke through that key level resistance. We've also can see here that whales are kind of taking the day off for the moment. Anytime the price action goes to a higher place, they tend to hang out on the sidelines and wait for the price action to establish itself in a lower trend. Because again, whales are much more active when the price is going down than it is going up. Interesting enough, right? Makes sense, of course, because they just hang out on the sidelines, wait for retail to bring the price up, and then, of course, sell the price action off and take the profits. Again, that's kind of where we're at there. We can see the last 3 days, we've seen a lot more long positions open than close. This does tell us we have a little bit more long bias. And the same thing here with shorts. We're starting to steadily decrease the amount of shorts being closed, but it is definitely something nonetheless. Take a look here at open interest. I'm very curious to see where we're at here for today, because we can recognize that for our long positions, net longs are hedged right there at about 29,800. Okay, so longs are technically underwater right now. We got these mid to late longs here from yesterday, and then of course with the shorts, I'm willing to speculate we have some shorts in profit. Majority of them are in profit, so shorts are doing quite well. It's just a matter of if they consider closing their positions and the price comes up, or if they continue to hold and stack those shorts. So again, as time progresses at this level, we'll start to see more and more short positions opened. But I think it's a little premature to shorts just because of the fact that we have this initial breakthrough, and we are more so bullish on the shorter term time frame than we are bearish. Okay? Again, breaking that descending trend is extremely important. Look at the 4 hour here. Let's wrap this up for you. We're going to look at here at the RSI, and we can see the RSI is tapering off, but it did come up to 70. Pretty much got rejected there at that level. Once again, that's a key level resistance at 30,000 / 30,100. So keep in mind that is an area in which the price action should continue to hold in place, but again, we are establishing higher highs so far, and parallel lows. Okay, so again, higher highs and parallel lows just implies that we should see further upside, and effectively we're going to be range bound still from the 28,800 upwards of 30,000. That hasn't changed yet. The key takeaway here is that we've broken this descending trend for the moment, and the likelihood of the price action breaking down lower is less based on the simple fact that we have more volume at this level here. You can see a pretty definitive support range at 29,200. Okay, so again, some important things to recognize. MACD is starting to lose its momentum, so again, all the more reason not to just jump into a short position because we don't have confirmation that momentum has shifted yet, but we also want to be careful with being a late long too. Okay. Me personally, I like to kind of consider waiting. We took profit from 29,000 to 29,600. Felt comfortable with that. I'm going to wait for another entry depending on how the price action continues. If we retest 29,200, I think that's a good place to consider a long position. Taking a look here at the 1 hour. Let's go ahead and take a peek here and see what's going on. BTC sequential, we came up to a 9, got a couple of hours of overtime and got rejected. Came back up to an 8 and rejected again. So you could see the beginning of a double top here for the moment. But once again, that is still early, and again, smaller time frames, less likely the patterns are to play out. Okay, so they're less impactful. So I'm not really super concerned with that. What I am happy with, or I guess you could say tentatively concerned with, is the Ichimoku cloud. So we broke through the cloud, all good, long positions, closer position here at 29.6. The price action going sideways here. We're losing our momentum, whereas the conversion line is now roughly intersecting with the baseline. That basically tells us that the momentous push for this trend is over. Lagging spans intersect with the price action, also confirming maybe consider closing your long position. And then we're also traveling into the cloud here shortly. Okay, so again, if we don't maintain a price at 29.6 or higher today, at the very least 29.5, then we're going to see a position where the price action might continue to go lower. Once again, it's not a bearish scenario completely if we lose that level. It just implies we want to be a little more cautious and patient with our entry. But right now, I'm still more long biased than I am short biased, but there's a great chance we could see a slight pullback between now and then. Again, a pullback to 29,200 wouldn't be the worst thing ever. It'd be a nice little bouncing point. There's a strong likelihood of the price continuing to bounce from there. Again, just some things to kind of look at. Let's take a quick peek at liquidity and call it a day here. We can see we have a lot of, basically open interest, if you will, at 29,700, upwards of 30,300. Okay, so we're going to need to spend more time in this range before we can continue to build. So there's a large volume profile here at this range that's considered to be a resistance. So again, until we can soundly close above 30,000, I don't think we should celebrate a long potential continuation yet. Okay, key here is that we've broken that descending trend. And the fact of the matter is, in most cases, when you break a descending trend, the first thing that occurs is the price action goes sideways for quite a while, and then it will leg up to increase from there. Okay, so it's usually a bearish continuation, broken. And how it's broken typically is with higher lows and higher highs, which we're seeing. And then typically there's range-bound activity from there, and then you retest that resistance level, and then we can see the price action break out. So again, it should look something like this if it were to work out the way that it should. Okay. Again, nothing always works out that way, but something to look for. So to me, again, being patient at this point is probably the best medicine. And we got a lot of good swing trades out there yesterday that are all in profit. Yes, we're seeing some pullbacks from a majority of the markets. Keep that in mind. But there are some outliers that are doing some really cool things right now. So I'm going to take a quick look at some of these altcoins here shortly. But for the moment, this is kind of the thing to understand with Bitcoin is that we are tentatively bullish, and I would just recognize that we're not out of the woods yet. We want to kind of, we don't want to celebrate prematurely. Okay, all right. I hope that makes sense. We do break 30,000. We hold above that level for a couple of days. I think at that point we'll have some celebratory measures. All right, I hope that made sense for you, and I described this correctly. Thanks again for watching. If you could help us grow our Twitter community, greatly appreciate the follow, like, subscribe, and the same thing as well, of course, for our YouTube too. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks again to all my community members that have been around for a long time. You are awesome, you're amazing, and I greatly, deeply appreciate you. And thanks again for the wonderful feedback we're receiving too as well on our Discord. As things are starting to pick up over there, I greatly appreciate that as well. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in tomorrow's video. Take good care.